somewhere on your supporter list right now, or perhaps just one warm introduction away from it. There is a person who cares about your cause deeply enough to give far more than they give you today. Not because they are extraordinarily rich, but because your work matters to them, and nobody has ever invited them into a real relationship with it. Most small charities never receive that larger gift, not because the person would have said no, but because no one ever built the relationship that makes a bigger yes possible. This video is about major donor fundraising, and about doing it the honest way as the patient building of relationships rather than a single nervous request for money. One note before we begin. This channel is educational only, and nothing here is legal, tax, or fundraising compliance advice. I cannot promise you a single gift or a single dollar, because no honest person can. And because major donor work means holding personal details about real people, their circumstances, their families, and their generosity. Treat data protection as part of the work from the very first note you write. Follow the privacy rules that apply where you operate, such as the PDPA in Singapore. And only keep and use the information people have genuinely agreed to share. The first thing to fix is the picture in your head. Many small charities imagine a major gift as a kind of grand transaction, a moment where you make the perfect pitch and a wealthy stranger writes a large check. If that is how you see it, the ask will feel terrifying, and the whole thing will rest on a single awkward conversation. But that is not how major gifts actually happen. A major gift is a relationship rather than a transaction. It grows slowly out of trust, shared belief, and genuine human connection, over months and sometimes years. The people who give the largest gifts are almost never strangers won over by clever words. They are supporters who came to know your work and to trust the people behind it. So the real skill of major donor fundraising is not persuasion. It is relationship building done patiently and sincerely, so that when the moment to ask finally comes, it feels less like a sales pitch and more like inviting a friend to be part of something they already love. Get that reframe right, and everything downstream becomes calmer, warmer, and far more likely to work. It helps to picture where major donors come from, and for that, imagine a ladder. At the bottom are the people who have just made their first small gift, perhaps a few dollars in response to an appeal. A step up are your regular givers, the ones who quietly donate month after month. Higher still are your committed supporters, the people who not only give but turn up, volunteer, and tell their friends about you. And near the top are your major donors, the small handful whose gifts are large enough to change what your charity can do. This is the donor ladder, and the single most important thing to understand about it is that people climb it one rung at a time. Almost no one leaps from a first small gift straight to a major one. They rise slowly as their trust in you deepens. Your job is not to hunt for rich strangers at the top of somebody else's ladder. It is to help the supporters already on yours take the next step up, and then the one after that. Major donors are usually grown, not found. They are ordinary supporters whose connection to your cause was nurtured, one honest conversation at a time, until giving more felt like the natural thing to do. So how do you help someone climb that ladder on purpose, rather than by luck? There is a simple, well-worn path, and fundraisers call this moves management, because each step is a deliberate move that carries the relationship forward. It has 5 stages and they run in order. First comes research, where you quietly learn who among your supporters might have both the capacity and the desire to give more. Then comes cultivation, the unhurried work of deepening the relationship so the person feels known and valued long before any number is mentioned. Then comes the ask itself, a single honest conversation where you invite them to make a specific gift. After the yes comes stewardship, where you thank them properly and show them what their gift achieved. And finally, there is renewal, where a well-cared-for donor is invited to give again, often more than before. Research, cultivate, ask, steward, renew. You do not rush through these, and you do not skip the middle to leap straight to the ask, because that is exactly what makes people feel used. Move at the pace of a real relationship, and each stage makes the next one easier. Done well, this cycle does not end at renewal. It loops, quietly turning a single supporter into a donor who gives for years. Now, a question that stops many small charities before they start. Where do we find major donors when we have no wealthy contacts and no expensive research tools? The reassuring answer is that your best prospects are almost certainly the major donors already around you, people quietly closer than you think. Start by looking at your own supporters. Who has given loyally for years, even in small amounts, showing steady commitment? Who suddenly gave more than usual, perhaps after a particular story moved them? Who volunteers, turns up to everything, and clearly cares beyond their donations? Look too at the people connected to your board and your team, since a personal link is worth far more than a cold name on a list. You are not looking for the richest people in town. You are looking for connection first and capacity second. Because someone who loves your cause and can give a little more will always beat a wealthy stranger who has never heard of you. Watch for the quiet signals. A note attached to a gift, a thoughtful question at an event, a legacy left in a will by someone you barely knew you mattered to. The work is simply to notice these people and then to gently begin a real conversation. Once you have noticed someone, resist the urge to ask straight away. The biggest mistake in major donor fundraising is to spot a promising supporter and rush to them with a request the very next week. You must cultivate before you ask, and cultivation simply means building a genuine relationship first. Invite them to see the work in person so the cause becomes real rather than a line in a newsletter. Have a coffee with no agenda beyond getting to know them and hearing why your cause matters to them. Learn what moved them to give in the first place, and remember it. Send them the occasional personal update, not a mass email, but a note that shows you see them as an individual. Thank them sincerely and often for what they already do. Through all of this, you are learning two quiet things: how deeply this person cares, and what part of your work speaks to them most, and roughly what they might be able to give, so that when you ask for the right amount in the right way. None of this is manipulation. It is the ordinary courtesy of getting to know someone before you invite them into something bigger. People give major gifts to organizations they trust and people they like, and cultivation is simply how that trust is honestly earned. Then comes the moment everyone dreads, the ask itself, and here the fear is almost always worse than the reality. When it comes to the ask conversations, a few simple principles make it far less frightening. Ask in person whenever you can, or at least by voice, because a major gift deserves more than an email. Ask for a specific amount and a specific purpose, because a vague hope for support gives someone nothing to say yes to, while a clear invitation, "Would you consider a gift of this size to make this exact thing happen?" is easy to respond to. Then, and this is the hardest part, ask and stay quiet. Let the silence sit. Do not rush to fill it or to shrink your own request out of nervousness, because the pause is the person thinking, and thinking is good. Be ready for any answer. A yes is wonderful. A not now is not a no. It is an invitation to ask again later. And a smaller amount than you hoped is still a gift and still a relationship you keep. Above all, remember you are not begging and you are not taking. You are offering someone who already cares a chance to do something meaningful with their money. Asked warmly, clearly, and without apology, the question is a gift in itself. Say the person gives. Most charities breathe a sigh of relief, bank the gift, and move on. And in doing so, they quietly waste the most valuable thing they have just earned. What happens after the gift decides everything, because good stewardship is what turns one gift into years of giving. So thank them quickly and personally, ideally within a day or two, and make it human rather than a printed receipt. Then tell them what their gift actually did. Not vague gratitude, but the concrete result. Because of your gift, this many children had meals this term, and here is what that looked like. Report back the way you would to a partner who trusted you, with a real story and a photo shared with permission. Keep them close between asks, sharing news when there is nothing to request, so they never feel contacted only when you want money. Remember the personal details they told you and treat them as the individual they are. Do all of this and something quietly powerful happens. When you return a year later, you are not a stranger asking again. You are a trusted friend reporting that the last gift worked and inviting them to do it once more. Stewardship is not the polite ending of a gift, it is the beginning of the next one. This is where major donor fundraising quietly pays off, because the real prize is never a single large gift. It is a supporter who gives generously for years, not once. Winning a brand new major donor takes enormous effort. All that noticing, cultivating, asking, and thanking. So once you have one, your goal is simply to keep them. Stay in gentle, genuine touch. Show them how their giving could grow, perhaps from a one-off gift this year to a regular commitment next year. When you ask again, do it with the same care as the first time, grounded in everything they have already made possible. A donor who gave once, was thanked warmly, and saw the difference they made is far more likely to give again, and to give more than any new prospect you could chase from cold. One well-tended relationship, renewed year after year, is worth more than a dozen one-time gifts you had to win from strangers each time. Let us bring it together. See a major gift for what it truly is, a relationship built on trust, not a transaction won by a clever pitch. Picture the donor ladder, and remember your job is to help the supporters you already have climb it, one rung at a time. Move people up it on purpose, through research, cultivation, the ask, stewardship, and renewal. Look for your major donors among the people already around you, choosing connection first and capacity second. Cultivate the relationship before you ever mention a number. When you ask in person for a specific amount and purpose, and then be brave enough to stay quiet. Steward every gift as if the next one depends on it, because it does, and turn that first yes into a relationship you renew for years. Major donor fundraising is not about being slick, and it is certainly not about pressure. It is about seeing that the people who care most about your cause would often love to do more, and gently, honestly giving them the chance. You cannot promise yourself any particular gift, and you should never pretend a donor is a sure thing. But if you build real relationships, ask with warmth and clarity, and care for the people who say yes, the larger gifts will start to come, and they will come back year after year. If this way of working feels right to you, subscribe for more practical charity marketing you can actually use, and take a look at the companion written guide linked below, where I lay these steps out in more detail. I will keep turning them into calm, doable steps, one video at a time.